Hello and welcome to a very English craft room and another in the scrapbooking series. Today I'm going to be scrapbooking a photo of some oversized beach items that are actually at Butlins in Skegness. They're there for you to have your photograph taken by if you want to. I'm going to be using some acrylics from Poppy's Crafty Owl. I will link that in the comment section down below for you. Poppy's Crafty Owl make acrylic embellishments. I've been sent a few to try out in some of my scrapbooking layouts, so watch out for them in other videos. I printed the photograph out on my Canon selfie and I had it with a border. However, it does make the photograph a little bit smaller than the standard 6x4. I wasn't quite sure whether that was how I wanted it once I'd printed it out. However, once the layout's finished, I do actually quite like it that size. I'm using my trimmer here just to trim down the border because it was more than I actually wanted. I actually use one of the lines on the little flappy bit that goes down to line up the edge of the photograph with, and that seems to give me a good sized border around these photographs. This photo is from quite a number of years ago, and again it's quite nice to be scrapbooking some sort of holiday themed photograph because once again it's typical March weather outside today, wet and windy. So I just want a strip of these beach huts here on this paper, not the whole paper, just to put as a border on the bottom. So again, just using the trimmer just to take a little slice of that page. And I'm going to use this paper here that's blue with the shells on to form quite a large mat for the photograph. So it's going to be 6x6, so you can see there I'm just measuring out 6x6, and I think the photo looks quite nice on there. I'm then going to ink that edge of the photograph in a second, and I'm going to find a border for the top of the page as well, which will be that paper there with the life preserves, swimming rings, whatever you want to call them there. So yeah, I'm going to trim a little bit of that off to stick at the top. So now I've got all the bits of paper prepared there. I'm just laying things out to have a look and see where I want them. So I think that says beach days there in that bright yellow is nice and cheerful and looks quite good at the top there. And I'm just experimenting with the sandcastle and the bucket and spade. There were other embellishments in this set, but I'm saving them for another layout. So there's a bikini and an ice cream, I believe. So I'm just having a look to see if I can find anything else that I like the look of to go alongside this. So this little sticker set, I do end up using something off it in the end, and again having a look at these flip-flops, and I really couldn't make my mind up, but actually I decided in the end not to use any of these flip-flops that I've just had a look at. And I think there's a few stickers off from these sheets that I do use in the end. I have quite an extensive collection of embellishments that are holiday themed, and hopefully in the next coming months I can actually get some pages scrapped and use up some of those embellishments and papers that I've got. So now I've got out my two Tim Holtz blue distress inks, and I've chosen one of the two to just put on the edge of this piece of paper. It just finishes it off nicely and gives a little bit of contrast between the different layers of paper. So I'm also going to do the same to the other sheets of paper, but what I've decided to do here first is use my distressing tool. This is because there was a challenge on one of the Facebook groups that said try and use your distressing tool on a layout, and I thought, you know what, maybe I will. So there we are, there we have there. The only thing with this is that it does create a little bit of dust, so I was just shaking that off into my bin there so it doesn't get stuck onto some of the sticky embellishments and things. So now using a pumice stone coloured ink on the edge of that one, just to finish and highlight the roughed up edge there. But again, on this one I've chosen the blue because there's a blue sky there on the pictures with the beach huts. So now I'm happy with the inks and things, popping them away, and I'm going to stick down these strips on the top and the bottom. I'm going to use T-square to make sure I get those nice and straight. It's one of my favourite tools to use now. And there's my other favourite tool, the little dental stick, to take the tape off on the back. So there's the T-square, and I'm just lining those up on there just to try and get nice and straight. And now I'm going to take the sticky off the top strip of tape. So I had actually only taken the sticky off one while I get it set in place. This saves trying to pull up two if there is a problem with your alignment. So you'll see again here, taking one off, lining it up with the T-square, and then popping the piece of paper on, and then just folding it back a little bit. Oh, yeah, see what I mean? Hadn't quite got it straight, so it was much easier with only one strip of sticky tape undone there. So the strips were actually marginally longer than the width of the paper, so I'm just trimming them down so it's a nice straight edge on both sides. Typically one had stuck out one side and one had stuck out the other, but there we go. So again, only undoing one layer of the sticky tape rather than both strips, and that's so that I can get it aligned, and using the T-square there again and trying to line up the middle of that 6x6 on the 15 centimetre mark on the ruler, so I know I've got it roughly in the centre of the page. So now that's all the layers of paper stuck down, I'm just inking the edge of the photograph. Again, not using blue this time, but using, it's a photograph one, an ancient photograph or aged photograph, something like that, just to give a slightly aged look to the edge of the photograph. So when I was sorting through those papers and embellishments there, I'd noticed there was a nice strip there, a little sticky strip, that's got seashells in blue, and once again it's slightly longer than the paper, so I trimmed it off there. Just having a look to see if there was anything else on there that I liked to use, but decided against it at that time. So now it's time to stick the photograph down, and again get the T-square out, find the 15 centimetre mark in the middle, and then align the photograph up on there. So now playing around with those words there, the beach days. Decided it would go at the top. I did experiment with it down underneath the photograph there, look, there you can see, but decided actually I like it better at the top. And as usual, I can never remember where I originally planned to put things, so end up spending more time playing around with it. Half the time it goes back to how it was originally, and other times it doesn't. So there I've decided to put the bucket on one side with the sandcastle and the spade on the other, but I'm going back to having the title at the top, and I will probably move the bucket and spade and castle around, yeah, back to where they actually finish up in the end. So looking at the flip-flops and trying to decide if I want them, so I cut one set out and put them aside. I wasn't really sure. On this sheet of stickers there was quite a few starfish that I quite like, so I've used quite a few of those from this sheet and from other places, just to add to the embellishments on this page. So tucked down in the bottom of my holiday themed embellishments box, I found this little box, and in there were some beads that were the shapes of shells, so I decided I'd use a few of those. And there were a few more stickers that were starfish, so again used a few more of those from in that box, so that was quite a find, and managed to use up some of my stash there as well. I decided I didn't like that little sticker there. I wanted to use that big blue starfish rather than the sort of little pinky red one. I will use that pinky red one elsewhere in the layout a little bit later, but I think it just gave a little bit more emphasis to the top there where the title is. And again, just trying to find some different flip-flops and things, see if I like them. And I think one of those yellow things down there is a bottle of suntan lotion, which is a button, so I'm going to have to cut the little spindly bit off the back of it. I've forgotten the name of that right now, but they cut off pretty easily, and then I can stick it on with some glue as I do. I've got some all-purpose craft glue that seems quite good for sticking on plastic and acrylic items onto the pages. Today is Mothering Sunday in the UK, and for the second year running we've been in lockdown, so not been able to see either my own mum today or my children. So happy Mother's Day to my mum and all the other mums out there. So now I'm sticking this down using that all-purpose craft glue onto the acrylic. I'm getting towards the end of the bottle of glue, so it's quite difficult to squeeze out. Until then you give it a big squeeze and you get it all over everything, all over your fingers, all over the cutting mats, everywhere you don't want it instead of exactly where you do want it. This is the first time I've used acrylic embellishments on scrapbook pages, even though I've been scrapbooking for quite a number of years now, and I think they're quite nice and fun for those bright, fun layouts that you want to do, which is very different from the last one I did, which was a very sort of vintage looking page. So I like to try different styles and tend to switch from one to another quite quickly and quite happily. Comment down below if you tend to stick to one style, or whether you like to be influenced by people on YouTube and Facebook scrapbooking groups and crops and things, and if indeed then you do change your style on a regular basis like I do. I certainly feel that my style has improved over the years, and that I've learned a lot from other scrapbookers or scrappers, whatever you want to call them, online and in person when we can actually go to a physical crop or scrapbooking group, which we are looking forward to being able to start again soon. So I say hello to all the ladies who go to the same scrapbooking group as I do in Scunthorpe in North Lincolnshire in the United Kingdom. We did manage one socially distanced scrapbooking meetup that I attended in between lockdowns, which was quite good, although missing something in some ways because we did have to stay away from each other and couldn't sort of see what each other was doing quite as much as we would normally do, which is part of the enjoyment, isn't it? Having a look at other people's pages and see what they're doing. At this point I thought I was happy with the embellishments that I'd put on, and wouldn't need to put any more on, so I was going to do the journaling, which I do, using a blue pen, and instead of drawing lines on my journaling today I used the lines that were already there. I did write it out on that strip there, which is actually the back of a piece that I cut off earlier, just to see how it would fit. However, I then went back in and decided I needed some more embellishments, so here I am selecting some more and rejecting some and keeping some. That little crab does end up being on the layout in the end, it's just he kept moving around. Didn't like that deck chair because it just felt out of perspective with everything else. It was so much smaller than the bucket and spade and the sandcastle there, so that went back. I didn't use that. Here's some more starfish that are slightly raised. Again, gives a nice bit of dimension to the layout, and I do end up using quite a lot of starfish there. Little postcard. So yes, I'd rummaged around in my embellishments and found quite a lot of different bits and pieces that I'd forgotten about, so that was quite nice being able to do that and find some. Found this little bit that says hello summer, which, do you know what, aren't we all longing for summer and maybe being able to travel again? That would be lovely. So there's the crab up the top there, and the suntan lotions there on the bottom, again just for some more stars and starfish. and some other shells and things going on. So now I'm happy with all those bits and pieces. Trying again with the flip-flops. I think there's a couple of other bits and pieces I'm going to pop on just to try out where I like them or not. And then I'm going to get down to sticking these last few bits and pieces down. I just wanted something to finish off there, so maybe just to reflect the little life preservers that were in that strip at the top. So in this little card that matches both sets, actually, because they came from the same set, the two strips, I just fussy cut off the little life preserver that was on that beach hut there, and I'm going to stick that on near where it says Hello Summer, as you can see there, and I think it just helps to link all those bits together, really. So just using my Xyron sticker maker there to put some adhesive on the back of all those bits, because it will make it just so much easier for me for sticking them back down rather than using glue or double-sided tape. So finally sorted out what I wanted to do with those flip-flops. They were actually on a sticker, but they had quite a lot of creamy yellow around the edges of them, so I fussy cut them again, did that off screen, so they're there. They're just going to stick on where you can see them now. So just doing the finishing touches here to this layout. It's nearly finished. There we go, I think that's about it. So I would like to thank you for joining me in a very English craft room, and ask that if you have enjoyed this video that you press on the like and subscribe buttons so you'll get notified when I put up a new crafting video, whether it be scrapbooking or other crafts. And if you're at all interested in travel, you might like to have a look at my travel channel, Travel With Me, Fruit Loop Films. So again, thank you to Poppy's Crafty Owl for the embellishments, and hope you all have a good and productive crafting week.